One of the darkest parts of US history, the Salem witch hunt. And after nearly 3 centuries, the city of Salem has confirmed that a team of scholars has finally verified the site where at the 1692 witch trials, after over 200 people were convicted of being a witch, 19 were put to death by hanging. The site is known as Proctor's Ledge, and it's an area in between Proctor and Pope Streets in Salem, Massachusetts. But it was always believed and assumed that the execution took place on the summit of Gallows Hill. Well, sonar technology has confirmed that actually these 19 people were hanged to death despite being innocent at the base of this hill, and it's right next to a man called Thomas Brophy's home where he grew up and lived. He said that his family always figured that it was actually in this area, but there was never concrete proof until now. Here's a quote from the Salem State University professor who was involved in the research done here. He said, "We're happy to be able to bring years of debate to an end. Our analysis draws upon multiple lines of research to confirm the location of the executions." Well, a little bit of history just for those who aren't completely familiar with the Salem witch trials. A group of young girls in Salem claimed that they were possessed by the devil. They accused several local women of being witches. Even children were accused at that time in the 1600s. And the Massachusetts General Court, after hanging 19 of these people, they later annulled the guilty verdicts and granted indemnities to their family. So it was a very sad state of affairs that happened back then. But really, it has taught a lot of lessons to the people of America and affected much of society now. So that was something I wanted to talk about today. Really, we're talking about a climate of fear and fear-mongering. And it really speaks to the notion of social, political climates dominated by fear and how this can lead to misjustice.
And the murder of innocent people. You know, the rampant fear of that time. This case originally came about. There was a Dr. William Griggs who diagnosed an illness. There was a niece of a pastor at that time, and his clinical diagnosis was bewitchment. And I was always fascinated by the story in this case. It represents such a dark time. You're absolutely right. Fear-mongering that leads to fanaticism, that leads to the death of innocent people. What a lesson.
Well, at this time, it was obviously really indicative of the treatment of women in society for the most part. There were some men in there as well, but for the most part, it was women being accused of being witches, white woman witch hunt. I can only make some sort of a comparison into the fear-mongering and the climate today and hope that, you know, wrongdoings don't occur with our present system of justice. Of course, this trial in itself helped form the present justice system, trial by jury, and it also really contributed to the separation of church and state, because obviously this was also a religious matter. So,
do you think we could see witchcraft trials resume? Is that the fear?
No,
maybe
just a different type of witch hunt today, a different type of fear being present in society, not the white women of today, but perhaps other demographics.
Group, right.
Yes, so at the time it was in this remote part of the country. They were isolated, and the Massachusetts General Court got away with doing this until they were later found to have made these horrible mistakes. Obviously, this really spoke of the collapse of freedom in America before the Constitution, but it does also speak today to what's going on with the fear-mongering in this country. But the news this week being that the exact location of that Salem witch trials has been verified by sonar technology.